Hello students, this is Miss Haxton and this is a video for part of your at-home lesson on Tuesday, January 12th. So today we are going to learn about theme and how to find the theme of a poem. Then we are going to read a poem and figure out the theme and then see what literary device is used in that poem and how that literary device contributes to the theme. So first of all, what is theme? Theme is the overall message or feeling about life that a poem conveys. So the theme is the big message, what the author wants you to understand about life. Okay. Um, when you're getting to theme, you always start with a topic and then transition to theme. So you can state the topic of a story or text in just one word. So a topic might be friendship, the stories about friendship, or love, stories about love. Okay. And so start there and figure out the topic of whatever text you're reading. Okay. Then ask yourself, okay, what is the author saying about that topic? If the topic is love, what about love? If the topic is friendship, what is the author saying about friendship? Your answer to that, which should come in the form of a statement or one complete sentence, will be the theme of that text. So let's take a look at this poem. It's called Harlem, and it's by an author named Langston Hughes. We're going to read this poem and figure out the theme. Then we are going to find the literary device used in this poem and see how it contributes to the theme. So, the very first line of this poem is, "What happens to a dream deferred?" And it's really important to know what that word deferred means. If something is deferred, it's put off till later, it's pushed aside, okay? It's postponed. So, this is about a dream deferred. So, when you have a dream, but you can't achieve it right now, so you have to push it aside and wait, maybe for a very long time. So, the very first line of this poem is, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode?" So we need to find the theme of this poem. And to do that, we should start by figuring out the topic. Okay, so what is the topic of this poem? When the poem says, "Does it dry up or fester? Does it stink? Maybe it sags." What is this it that we see come up many times through the poem? Does it at the beginning? Does it at the middle? Maybe it. Does it at the end? What is this it? What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up? Does it stink? Maybe it sags. Or does it explode? The topic is a dream that is deferred. Now that we've identified the topic, what is the author saying about this topic? So, what is happening to this dream that is pushed aside? Well, maybe it is drying up. Okay, things dry up when they die. Does it fester like a sore? Ooh, look at that festering sore. It is getting worse and worse. It is getting very painful. So, does the dream dry up and die? Does it become very painful? Does it stink like rotten meat? Maybe the dream sags like a heavy load. Maybe the dream explodes. So, all of these images of the dream sagging, of the dream dying up, festering, exploding, what is the feeling that you get from these images and words? Are these good things to happen to a dream? Okay, well, they're all bad things: death, violence, pain. Okay, the idea here seems to be that when you defer a dream, bad things happen. Bad things happen to dreams that are deferred. Now we need to figure out what literary device is being used. So, when the poem says, dry up like a raisin in the sun, fester like a sore, stink like rotten meat, crust and sugar over, syrupy sweet. Okay, these are descriptions of things that you can see and feel and taste. What is the name for that literary device where an author describes something that you can see, that you can smell, like the stink of rotten meat, that you can taste? What is the literary device for when an author describes what you can see, smell, taste? That literary device is imagery. Now we are at the last question, which is that how does the use of this literary device contribute to the theme? Well, what is the author doing with these images? The author is making us imagine all the terrible things that can happen to a dream that is put off. Okay. The author uses imagery to help us imagine all the bad things that happen to a dream deferred. So now we're going to put all of this together into a little literary analysis paragraph. So at the beginning of a literary analysis paragraph, you mention the title of the poem, the author's name, and the literary device used. So we're going to state all of that in this sentence. Langston Hughes, the author, uses imagery in his poem called Harlem. Okay, so now we've mentioned the author, the poem, and the literary device. Okay, we need now to give some examples of this imagery. So we can start off by saying, for example, he says that a dream deferred might dry up like a raisin in the sun. Which is a description of, in this case, dry up. So the word dry is something that describes what you can see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. Well, if something is dry, that's what you can feel, which is a description of feeling. There's also a description here of a smell, stink like rotten meat. And that a dream deferred might stink like rotten meat, which is a description of smell. Okay, description of feeling and description of smell. These are examples of the imagery in the poem. So we've named the literary device. We've given examples of how that literary device is used. And now the next step is to connect the literary device to theme. Okay, remember the theme is that bad things happen when a dream is deferred. Okay, bad things, which are exemplified in the poem by words like dry up and stink. Okay, which are those examples of imagery. These examples of imagery help us form. So they help us like imagine all of these bad things, right? You can imagine the smell of rotten meat. Okay, probably. If you've ever smelled rotten meat, you never forget that smell because it's so bad. It's kind of like if you ever smell rotten milk. Have you ever smelled like sour rotten milk? It's a very strong smell. Okay, you never forget it. So when Langston Hughes says that the dream might stink like rotten meat, it brings an idea to your imagination. So these examples of imagery help us imagine all the terrible things that happen when a dream is deferred. Okay, and there you go. There's the literary analysis paragraph. Okay, we've mentioned the literary device, imagery. We've given examples of that device. We've quoted certain lines that give examples. And then we've connected the literary device to theme. Okay, all the terrible things that happen when a dream is deferred. This is the theme. And these examples of imagery help us imagine these terrible things. Okay. So now I would like you to take a second to go back to your week 2 poetry daily work doc and scroll up to page 2. Right now you should be able to define and give an example of theme. So theme is the message or feeling of a poem. Okay, an example is from this poem Harlem by Langston Hughes. In Harlem, in the poem Harlem by Langston Hughes, the theme is that bad things happen to a person, happen when a dream is deferred. Okay. Imagery is description of what you can see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. And some examples from that poem are stink of rotten meat and dry up like a raisin. sun. Okay, so you can go ahead and take a moment here to copy this information in your chart. And once you are done with that, you are done with your assignment for today. Bye bye.